Yo, we on our AJM podcast. It's your boy, Aiden.
Dean.
And Jared.
And today's topic, we talking about Jackie Robinson. Key idea, right? If Jackie wasn't the man to integrate baseball, who would have done it? Did we need Jackie? Did we not need Jackie? That's what we talking about today, all right. Get y'all started. But before we start, you know what I'm saying, we have our ad from our sponsor.
To thrive in the city, it takes ingenuity. To drive in the city, it takes the incomparable agility of the Lexus UX.
Yes, this video is sponsored by Lexus, this podcast, amen. To get y'all started, who is Jackie Robinson? Jackie Robinson is an MLB hero in eyes of many. He's an important figure in the integration of sports, period, and the integration of baseball itself. He's a Hall of Famer. He broke color barriers in sports and showed what it's like to be black on the baseball field. Amen. Jackie Robinson accrued a 63.8 WAR, which is 11th all time for the Hall of Fame for his position as second baseman. We're only half of the career playing time. Keep that in mind. Half. He played half the career of any of his white counterparts. It truly shows the skill of Jackie. He only had 2 seasons under a .8 OPS and had an OPS plus under 110, both of which were declining in his seasons. So he's above the average, he's above the spew. He's simply better. And if you look at just his prime 7 seasons, which were his 7 seasons period, he was never out of prime. Jackie was simply prime and simply ceased to exist after. His WAR is 12 all time within those seasons. What does that say? Jackie's better than his counterparts. He's simply the best.
He had
He's
that
the GOAT.
dominant prime.
Exactly. Jackie had that dog in him. Amen.
Yes. As well as having the great statistical stats, he was also a great base stealer, leading the league in stolen bases twice. You know, one of his biggest accomplishments is winning the MVP in 1949, 2 years after he entered the MLB, and ending off his peak with a World Series title in '54. You know, this is just showing that he needed to shine brighter than everyone else to even have a chance of integrating the league, and he did just that.
Amen.
He was an influence to so many African Americans. He was actually called the one-man civil rights movement. Tons of African Americans came across America to see Jackie Robinson play baseball. And there was even a train that ran from Virginia to Ohio called the Jackie Robinson Special. African Americans wanted to support Jackie Robinson's movement, so they would travel across states just to see him play one baseball game.
Insane.
Crazy.
Insane.
Why?
That is wild.
That is
You know, and Jackie ended up being the perfect man for the job. You know, when Branch Rickey was looking at all of the players in the Negro National Leagues to pick someone to come up, you know, he wanted someone who was great. They had the talent, but also the ability to not fight back. You know, a great example is in the movie 42, which is the documentary about these events. You know, he wants the ones who have the guts not to fight back. You know, if you echo a curse to the curse, they'll only hear yours. You know, they needed someone who would look at all this hate that was going on around them and just put their head down and just play baseball.
Amen. Character, because, you know, we were talking about what if it wasn't Jackie, you know what I'm saying? The what if. We know a player that the Negro National League actually wanted to be pushed up, and that's our man Monte Irving. So their argument would be, you know, Monte Irving could have did exactly what Jackie have done, if not better, because it's said by many, and even the Baseball Hall of Fame themselves, Monte Irving's the best Negro League player ever. Simply.
Exactly.
He wasn't the first to move on, you know what I mean? But he was definitely the best. He was the player's choice and the league's choice. He just happened to not be the one that was signed. They played in the same time frame and everything. So they are comparable. He was an excellent player, and he was simply the best Negro League player when we break down the stats. And we could really go into those stats, but they're just highly reflective of Jackie's stats, to say the least. But honestly, that argument's weak. You know, Monte was there. You know, he played the sport. He did it. He did da-da-da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? But he was already a 10-year veteran at that point. And we know how old people get. They get cranky.
They also get injury prone.
And they get incredibly injury prone. If Monte was the person that they would have pushed up, who's to say he would not play a game, tear his ACL, rupture his meniscus?
He probably wouldn't be able to take the hate.
Maybe he wouldn't have been able to take the hate.
Exactly. Maybe he was soft.
Maybe he was simply soft. Exactly. There's so many other factors that go into it. And we have no account for that because we were simply not there.
Exactly.
That was 1940. We're 2020 something. I'll be forgetting what year it is. You get it.
Yeah. Definitely.
But yeah, he was a great player nonetheless. I get it. But maybe him in his prime would have been the perfect person to push up. But simply at this point in time, he just was not in his prime. Therefore, Jackie was the right selection. I stand by it.
Exactly. You know, another one of those players you talk about, only if they were a little bit younger. You know, with Smokey Joe Williams, you know, one of the legendary pitchers. You know, he comes up and you think of names like Satchel Paige, Josh Gibson. These players who, they were super good, you know, but they were just having to be just a little too old. You know, he had, you know, fireball speeds back when, you know, the top pitchers in even the MLB were only throwing 93, 94. You know, he in a 12-inning game, you know, he threw a one-hitter, you know, and you know he threw so hard that he needed a backup catcher because the starting catcher on his battery would sometimes get blisters from how hard he threw. You know, it was clear, you know, he could play, but the problem that he was super old. You know, he was going on 60 when he would have been called up, and so you know he would have just been too injury prone. You know, he would have fallen out, which could have delayed integration by 10, 15, 20 years. And by that time, you know, people have already been set in their ways about how Negro League ball players would have acted in MLB.
Jackie as a character as a whole, I feel like really shows that he deserved it. And they keep on arguing against saying that, oh, you know, you can put this person, put that person, and that's cool and all. But Jackie Robinson did more than just baseball. To him, it was more than just baseball. And we even note that, like, he helped the community with what he did. Not only in just the civil rights sense and the integration sense. He helped the community by giving back in a physical sense, you know. He helped found the Freedom Bank in Harlem and then later even in Brooklyn. And the bank was established out of protest against these white financial institutions that discriminate against like African Americans and whatnot. So he helped build a system to allow black people to operate banks, to receive fair and just loans, and to help distribute wealth between these black communities. So Jackie's goal really wasn't just to be a baseball player. His goal was to bring everybody together. But we do note another clean and actually sound argument, probably one of the best arguments that they could make, is Jackie played solely 47 Negro League games. And he was selected. We have our veteran players that have been playing for years. We definitely not know 47 games.
They were like,
know?
who is this kid that into the league and immediately getting set up? You know, but like he, as well as winning over the fans' hearts of the Major League Baseball, he won over the Negro National Leaguers' hearts, you know, by playing so well and doing what he did. You know, he was quoted as having one of the biggest backbones in the league. You know, he was the guy who just put his head down and do the work that he needed.
Exactly. I feel like he really, when we look at his game as a whole, I feel like he really like innovated the way we steal bases, too. Mm-hmm. Because stealing bases, you know, that's always been a thing. It's baseball, you know, I mean, it's a part of the game. It's always been legal. But Jackie was different. He had that dog in him when he steal a base. Jackie's one of the first like notable players, and him stealing home base, that's one of the most famous clips in the entire world.
Of course.
Simply put, one of the most watched things on YouTube. Because who done that before Jackie? Who's stealing home base? Who got that dog in him like that? It's simply Jackie Robinson. There's no better person for the job. I stand by it.
Speaking about running, Jackie Robinson wasn't just a baseball player. In UCLA,
Interesting.
He played 4 sports: baseball, basketball, football, and track and field. So he was running track, and he ran 827 rushing yards, leading the team in football, which is crazy.
He's the perfect pick. He's a multi-sport athlete. He can do anything, bro. Jackie's got the dog.
But he also won the broad jump in the 1940 Tokyo Olympics.
Wow.
He was fantastic at everything.
Yeah, and just his mere presence, inspired the league to change. In the first decade, Dodgers, who were one of the first people to ever adopt this change, they were taking it in stride. In the history of the Dodgers organization, they'd only made 3 World Series at this point. But as soon as the iteration era started, they made 6 in a span of 10 years, and winning one in 1955. With 3-time MVP and one of the heroes of the New York National League, Roy Campanella, Jim Gilliam, Sandy Armamos, and of course Jackie Robinson. And so they were one of the first teams to really take it in stride, and they really benefited off, the changes that had happened.
Yeah. So honestly, I think as a group, as a consensus, I feel like, I personally believe, and, y'all can tell me if you're wrong, us at AML. So we believe that Jackie was the right choice, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Jackie was perfect.
100%.
I don't think there was a man better. And I mean, you can look at the stats, you can look at the numbers, you can try and debate it, you can try to justify it one way or another. Jackie Robinson was the perfect choice. And I simply enjoy the way the history played out in that sense.
Exactly.
I don't think it should have went any other way. And I think it could have, don't get me wrong, it definitely could have. There was definitely other people that
100%,
maybe
yeah.
would have been able to do it too. But simply Jackie held it down and he did it. There don't need to be no maybe. Jackie's the guy for the job, and he was the guy for the job, and he did his thing. In all respect. So that's all for today, folks. We'll catch you on the next installment.